Welcome back to the BCFL Weekly Recap. Apologize for the short break, but there have been two teams that we had yet to feature this year, and they just happen to be playing each other this week. The Kentucky Huskies and the Capital City Mustangs are two of the three teams fighting for the final playoff spots in the East. A penalty wiped out a 45-yard gain for the Huskies on the first play of the game. On the second play, Kyle Hoover picked off this pass over the middle, and he fought his way all the way down to the 6-yard line for the Mustangs. On their second play, Tyler Petrie fired a short pass out to Jalen King. He made one cut and bullied his way into the end zone, and the Mustangs were quickly ahead, 6-0. The Huskies answered in just 4 plays, capping off the drive first with a 10-yard run by Quinn Walker along the right side, and following that up when Cody Wilcher dropped back and fired this 41-yard strike to Mike Clay wide open. The Huskies have tied the score 6-6. Capital City responded by driving to the Huskies' 25-yard line, but Bonal Harrell jumped in front of this pass, picked it off, brought it back to midfield. He lost it at the end, but the Huskies did maintain possession. Just before the end of the first quarter, the Mustangs got the ball back. Wilcher was looking deep, but Jalen King stepped in front of the pass, and he brought it back to midfield for the Mustangs. Mustangs turned it over on downs, however, and the Huskies took advantage. Wilcher fired this pass to Hayden Kenny. He reached the 29-yard line for a 25-yard gain. Then on fourth down, Wilcher went deep. He found Mike Clay in the end zone for a touchdown, their second connection of the game, to make it 12-6 Huskies. The Huskies got the ball back for one last possession at the end of the half. Looked like it might result in disaster, but Bonal Harrell picked up the bad snap and charged ahead all the way down to the 6-yard line. That set up Wilcher. He scrambled and found Hayden Kenny in the back of the end zone for a 6-yard touchdown. A 2-point conversion made it 20-6 Huskies at halftime. Kentucky kept its momentum going in the second half. Capital City tried to go deep, but Heron tipped the pass, picked it off, his second of the game. The Huskies faced a 4th and 6, but Wilcher fired a short pass, and Quinn Walker wiggled his way, picking up 18 yards and, most importantly, the first down. On the next play, Wilcher had to scramble a bit, but he fired deep, and once again it was Mike Clay open for the touchdown. That's 26 straight points for the Huskies. The 4th touchdown by Wilcher, and Mike Clay, yes, that's his 3rd touchdown of the game. Huskies defense looked to pile on. Jude Augustin forces the fumble. Mike Terry is there to recover the fumble. But on the next play, Walker managed to make one man miss, but he is then met by a slew of Mustang defenders, loses the ball, and Jalen King is there to recover it for the Mustangs and stem the tide just a bit. King moves over to quarterback for the Mustangs. His second pass looks like it's going to be for no gain, but then Nashawn McCall reverses field, picks up some blocks, and then puts on a burst down the sidelines. He's got a blocker, but he's not able to make it all the way. Still a 44-yard pickup into Huskies territory. King follows that up with this scramble and a 12-yard pickup to end the third quarter. Capital City caps off the 78-yard drive when King throws this jump pass and Logan Kogar grabs it out of the air. King ran in the 2-point conversion, and the score was 26-14 Huskies. Wilcher finds Mike Clay again for 17 yards. Not a touchdown this time, but it is good to get them to the 12-yard line and for a first down. And instead, Wilcher takes care of things himself. He makes the pass and bruises his way into the end zone for the touchdown, restoring the lead to 32-14. Mustangs aren't ready to quit yet, though. King fires this 15-yard pass to Chris Sharp to get them to the 7-yard line. And then on 4th and goal, King rolls out. He's looking, can't find anybody. He scrambles back the other way, finally decides to let it go, And Logan Kogar snatches it in the end zone for the touchdown to make it 32-20. Mustangs cannot recover the kickoff that follows. Instead, it actually ends up being a 26-yard return by Kenny as the Huskies are able to run out the remaining time. The Huskies did have a forfeit win to their credit, but now they get to celebrate their first win on the field, a 32-20 victory against the Capital City Mustangs. Mustangs started and finished strong, but the Huskies outscored them 20-0 in the second and third quarters to pull out the big victory. Wiltshire was 11 of 19 passing for 197 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown, accounting for all 5 scores by the Huskies in the game. Clay had 4 catches for 131 yards and 3 touchdowns, giving him 4 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. Jude Augustin recorded 3 sacks in the game. King at quarterback was 6 of 11 for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. As a receiver, he had 3 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown. He also led the Mustangs with 3 rushes for 14 yards. On defense, he had 4 tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Logan Kogar got 4 passes for the Mustangs for 27 yards and 2 touchdowns. Checking out the scores of the other games from Week 9, the Spartans remained undefeated but had a surprisingly tough time with the Rhinos, winning 28-20. The Blaze beat the Rage for the second time, 25-6. The Buccaneers gained a big win over the War Eagles, 33-0, and the Warriors picked up forfeit against the Tanks. The Gladiators and Storm game was declared a no contest. Looking at the standings, the Spartans and Gladiators both remain undefeated in the Eastern Conference's Red Division, while the Huskies improved to 2-5. The Storm are still atop the Blue Division at 5-2. The Warriors have moved up to 4-4. The Mustangs and Rhinos both sit at 1-7. In the Western Conference, the Dukes hold a half-game lead over the Blaze. They're 5-2. The Blaze are 5-3, while the Rage are 1-7. And in the Blue Division, the Buccaneers move ahead of the War Eagles with their win. They're now 4-3, while the War Eagles fall to 4-4. Looking ahead to this weekend's schedule, there's several games that'll be key rematches. The Blaze and the Gladiators played just 2 weeks ago, when the Gladiators winning by 6 points on the Blaze's home field. This time, they'll be playing in Columbus. The Spartans and Huskies met earlier this year in the BCFL's only overtime game so far. The Spartans won that. This time, they'll be traveling to face the Huskies. And the War Eagles and Buccaneers will face each other in a rematch of last week's game, won by the Buccaneers, with first place in the division on the line. The Storm will pick up a win against the Mustangs, while the Dukes, Rage, Warriors, and Rhinos will have the week off. And taking a look at the playoff situations, in the East, as it stands right now, the Gladiators would have the number 1 seed by virtue of allowing fewer points than the Spartans. The Storm would get the number 2 seed as the champions of the Red Division in the Eastern Conference. The Spartans would be the number 3 seed, and they would host the 6th seed, currently the Mustangs. However, the Rhinos do have a forfeit awaiting them in Week 10, so it'll likely be the Rhinos moving into that 6th spot. The Warriors and the Huskies are currently in the 4 and 5 positions, with the Warriors hosting that game. However, the Huskies could host that game if they win their last 2 games against the Spartans and the Warriors. In the West, the Dukes currently hold the number 1 seed, followed by the Buccaneers number 2 as the leaders in their division, and the Blaze sit at 3rd. However, all 3 teams have a shot at the number 1 seed. The Dukes can get the number 1 seed by beating the Blaze in their last game of the season. The Blaze can get the number 1 seed by winning each of their last 2 games, and the Buccaneers can get the number 1 seed by winning their last 2 games and having the Blaze lose to the Gladiators but beat the Dukes. Meanwhile, the War Eagles are set at the number 4 seed unless they can beat the Buccaneers by at least 33 points this week, in which case they would move ahead of them in the division standings, and the Rage are set at the number 5 seed.